Okay, welcome to the March 14th Thursday chat. We have a number of announcements, and then we're going to hear from Paul Hartigan and Carol Johnson on the state of Newbridge before we get to Matt Hollingshead. So we'll start off with Judith Kahn.
Hi, everybody. I just want to remind folks that we have our Hadassah study group coming up this Saturday. We're going to be continuing with our discussion on Jewish perspectives of family. And this month, Carol Hausman is going to be presenting on Joseph and his brothers, which should be a very interesting, thought-provoking discussion. And the relevant text for people to review is Genesis 37, 1 through 35. Copies of the Tanakh are in the library if you don't have your own copy. So we encourage you to review the text, and you're welcome to come to the meeting. You don't need to be a member of Hadassah in order to join in. Everybody's welcome, and we're looking forward to seeing people on Saturday. It's in the synagogue from 2 until 3:30 or so. Thank you. Thanks, Jerry.
Thank you. And Marlene Yesley, then Judy Rosenthal, and Betty Shapiro.
Yeah. Well, I think let's do Betty before Judy, because then Betty and I will wrap up the scholarship fund and Judy about the raffle. And Betty was really going to talk about something else as well, and we've sort of commandeered her. So thank you, Betty. Anyway, I just want to thank you. For the support of the raffle. We had a great year. We raised about $40,000 with the raffle, which is fabulous. We really need it because this way we can continue our support of the hourly employees who are looking to better themselves through education. And many people made the raffle happen, as you know, but Benita Ross and Barbara Goldstein thanked most of them Tuesday night. But I do want to do a shout out to F&B, to Josh and Eileen and the gang for the wonderful desserts and hot chocolate that they provided. And a very special thank you to the maestro of our kazoo orchestra, Susan Nemmons, and to the Newbridge Chorus. The Newbridge Chorus added so much with their musicality and their enthusiasm that I hope we see them again soon. As you know, this is one arm of our fundraising, and we have our regular donations. And after Betty reads the list of the winners, Judy's going to talk about the donation cards. So thank you, Betty, for doing this.
Okay, Betty, just cover the raffle, and we'll get back to you after.
Yeah. Right. So I want to congratulate all the winners. I have a list that's I'm told is now posted. The winners are in alphabetical order, and it doesn't say what they won, but I will give you the names of the winners. Tony Shute and John O'Keefe, Sharon Gouveia, Rebecca and Tom Jacoby, Larry Crone, Toby Levine, Susan Nemmons, Joyce and Bob Orkand, Jean Perkins, Joan Porvu, Ted Raphael, Billy Rosoff, Ron Silberstein, Prue Thorner, and Marcia Venicelli. That's it.
Okay, so Judy Rosenthal.
Running unmuted. Spring is here, as I hope you all were able to enjoy the outdoors today. It was so beautiful. And with spring and finished with our raffle for this year, I want to remind everyone about our cards that are now visible and for purchase. We've returned the display to the concierge desk, which has many things on it. And there are two ways that you can order cards. I've added a new thing for this year, and we'll just experiment and see how it works. Basically, what we've always done is we have people in various parts of the campus who are available to have cards sent to you, and their names and all of that will be posted and to see. But Beverly Ashworth, Rosalie Snyder, Joan Bruck, who has a very special offering, and she will be happy to write a card if you feel that her handwriting or that you need help with that. The cards are neutral. There are 3 of them. I don't know if you can see this, but make sure you take a look either in the villa with vestibules or on the concierge desk. We have still our 3 options. And whoops, higher, I just heard in the background for me, there's that one. It's hard to see them, so I'm not going to take time to do that. But what is on the concierge desk also for the first time, I don't know if you can see, it's just a slip of paper right now, whereas if you walk by and think, oh gee, I need to send a birthday card, or I need to send a graduation card or an anniversary card, I'm getting, but can you see that, anybody? Whatever, it's a slip that is very visible when you go by the concierge desk. They're in the basket and there's a little box to put them in. We'll collect them and get back to you as to exactly how you can take care of purchasing one of the cards. So we hope that we'll keep you busy, keep us busy during the spring. It's graduation time, it's anniversaries for a lot of people. There's always a time for a card, and so if you have a couple even in your home, then you know that you're always prepared. So that's story for today, and we'll keep you posted on how it's going. And please let me know if you're having trouble for one reason or another and your order is not filled, or you're waiting to hear about the card. So thanks, Jerry. I'm done.
Okay, thank you. And now back to Betty Shapiro with a different hat.
No, I'm keeping my same hat on for the scholarship fund. I don't think I heard Judy tell you how much the cards are. They're $10 a piece. Correct me if I'm wrong. Sorry, Judy. Now I'm putting on my lucky hat. Ready? So this is a reminder that it's Potato Latke Mix collection time again. What's this all about? Somebody may be asking. Well, briefly, the Volunteer Outreach Committee has had for many years as one of its projects the collection of potato latke mix 3 times a year: Passover, Rosh Hashanah, and Hanukkah. We do this in conjunction with Jewish Child and Family Services in Waltham, and they run the Family Table, the only kosher food bank in the Boston area. Many organizations participate in this, each with its own specific responsibility. Ours is Potato Latke Mix. So please put Potato Latke Mix on your shopping list. Any brand is okay. Almost all stores carry one brand or another. You can find the low sodium version that is the preference. Hopefully you can find the low sodium version, which is the preference. And the Nosh store will have a supply as well. Our collection is officially beginning now and will run through late April for delivery time for distribution for Passover. The collection box is located right near the entrance to the Nosh store, or it will be if it isn't currently. It looks like a toy chest, but it is clearly marked as belonging to Jewish Child and Family Services, JC and FS. Please put your boxes of Latke Mix inside. The cover opens easily, and when it's full, it will be empty to make room for more donations. And that's Latke Mix only. No money and no other projects. We here don't have to worry about where our next meal is coming from, but there are many who do. Let's help them as best we can, and thank you in advance.
Okay, thank you. So Rabbi Judy Ehrlich.
Hello, everybody. I would like to remind you that in just 10 short days from now, it will be Purim. And if you haven't already decided and acquired your Purim costume, it's not too late. You can still pull something together. We're going to have our Purim Megillah reading from the book of Esther in English at 4:30 on Sunday, the 24th, and at 5:30, we're going to have a festive Purim dinner in Great Meadow Hall. And it's always a joyful time to see our friends disguised and we don't know who they are and they look so funny. Where there will definitely be prizes for anybody who looks a little different, wears a funny hat. And please come and join in. And it's a nice opportunity to celebrate at a time like this. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And Tara Fleming Caruso.
Hello, everyone. There are 2 educational opportunities in the next 2 weeks. The first is next Thursday, Newbridge 101, which happens once a month on Thursday at 1 p.m. It's the 21st. It's a great overview of all the supports that are available to Newbridge residents on the Newbridge campus. It's run by Zoom, and you sign up through the hotline. The other opportunity is in assisted living. They're having their annual open house on Tuesday, the 26th from 4 to 5, which means that there's wine, which is awesome. What they're doing differently this year is that they're inviting our community, but they're also inviting people from the outside who are on their wait list. So because of that, space is limited. And if you're interested in learning how assisted living provides a quality of life for its residents, you should sign up now. Call the hotline and register in that way. If you have any questions, please reach out. That's all I have today. Thank you.
Thank you. And now Larissa Levitch.
Thank you, Jerry. I'd like to tell you about another opportunity to hear our Newbridge chorus perform as a part of our community Purim celebration. On Monday, March 25th, we will have something that we have not done before and very excited to invite you to. We will have a production of Newbridge Purim Spiel that is going to demonstrate the talent of Newbridge community as we showcase our creativity, power, and spark. You will not want to miss this exciting opportunity. I'm not going to tell you the names, but you will see your own neighbors disguised in costumes, performing, dancing, and singing. So I hope to see you, many of you, on Monday, March 25th at 2 p.m. And I ordered tons of Hamantaschen.
Hey, thank you. And now Josh Ferraro and Eileen O'Donoghue.
Thank you, Jerry. Good afternoon, everybody. I just wanted to follow up Rabbi Judy mentioning Purim and the dinner. I just want to mention that for the dinner, you do have to sign up and place your orders. And so far, we have 54 signups for the Purim, and 47 of those were done electronically through the dining website. So I just wanted to thank the community for trying this new process and option. And, so far on our end, we're seeing a lot of participation and success in signing up electronically. So I just wanted to mention that. Remember, the deadline to sign up for the Purim dinner will be the Wednesday before, so March 20th. And your other dining options, if you don't attend the Purim dinner, Nosh will have the always-on menu available to go if you order by 2 p.m. And the deli will remain open for counter service until 6 p.m. And that's for that Sunday, March 24th. We have a Cuban night entertainment and themed dinner on Wednesday, March 27th. For this dinner, Centro will be closed for dining in. The menu will be available to go if ordered by 2 p.m. Nosh will be open for regular dinner business on that Wednesday. And it's a buffet, so you will not have to pre-order, but you will have to sign up. Your options for sign up for the Cuban night themed dinner will be through the dining website. You will be able to sign up electronically. or you can call the reservation hotline, the trip line 49218. And that information will be in the dining communication in the weekly packet and will also be included on the dining website for that event. And then lastly, before I turn it over to Eileen, one additional thing that we're trying is starting tomorrow, you can order Shabbat, place your Shabbat order form electronically through the dining website. Those instructions will be in the culinary corner in the electronic weekly newsletter tomorrow. If you go to the dining website under upcoming events and click on next week's Shabbat, it will walk you through the process of making your menu selections and signing up for Shabbat dinner. That does not replace your opportunity to fill out the paper order form if that's what you want to continue to do. This is just a secondary option as we expand the ability to do these types of things electronically. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, Jerry, and I'll turn it over to Eileen.
Hey, hold on a second. We have a question from Marlene Yesley.
Oh, sure, of course.
What's the maximum size of a table for Cuban night, please?
Thank you very much. So when we do, that's a great question, Marlene, and sometimes it's not always clear, and we'll try to include it. It will be up to a table of 10. When we do events in Great Meadow Hall with those larger round tables, we have the opportunity, and we try to maximize by putting the number of seats. So thank you, Marlene. Great question.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Eileen.
Hi, everybody. So I have a few announcements as well. The Wine Down is happening this Monday, and guess where we're going? We are going to Ireland. So I hope you will bring your passports, and I hope you wear your green because you're going to be in good company. We are going to Ireland. It's going to be in Great Meadow Hall. And as per usual, we will have a couple of surprises, some drinks, some snacks, and we're going to have a good time. Little bit of Irish music thrown in there as well. So I'm looking forward to seeing you all on Monday for the Wine Down. It is at 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. in Great Meadow Hall. And please don't forget your passports. Now, as well as that, on March 31st, we have an Easter brunch up in Central, and the reservation lines are opened to make reservations for brunch. Brunch starts at 11 and finishes at 2, and that is on Sunday, March 31st. Believe it or not, we have Passover around the corner. So we are working behind the scenes, organizing menus, getting times organized, meeting with other departments, making sure everything is working. So you will see some more details next week concerning the Passover. So hopefully that we have any questions or anything like that you want to ask will be for next week. And then finally, I actually have a favor to ask. And the favor is, and I totally understand, Nosh is not where we want it to be right now. But I hope you all agree that been kind of working a little bit behind the scenes to kind of get a few things up and running with Nosh, and we're waiting on equipment and the AOD and stuff like that. But what we're trying to do is, I'm asking you to help us with the reservations. And no more like the reservations with Central. I know some residents books tables of 8 and tables of 6 and tables of 4 and stuff. That I was hoping that when you book the tables that you have the residents' names with it, because what's happening sometimes is we book the bigger tables and then we don't fill up the seats, and we could have potentially had more seats for other residents. And there is days when Nosh is very quiet, and there is days when Nosh are very busy. And we just want to make sure that if you are coming to Nosh, that you book a reservation so we know how many people we are serving that night. It's easier for the kitchen to know how much to prepare, because sometimes we'll over prepare or under prepare. And then it's easier for me to help the staff front of house organize the night. And I totally understand we still have a long ways to go with the reservations, but I think together we can kind of work it out. And if you give us as much as information as you can, we will try and do the same as well. So that's all I really have. And thank you very much. Looking forward to seeing you next Monday. And if you have any questions, just let me know.
No, you have a question, Josh?
I just wanted to, one clarification, I think, for the Easter brunch, Eileen, those reservations begin, to be able to be made through Centro starting Monday, the 18th. They
Oh,
can start
sorry.
making that's okay. Reservations for Easter brunch Sunday in Centro. You can start calling Centro for reservations or make them online starting Monday, the 18th.
And that's another good thing as well. If you would need any information, we have a lot of events going on between the wind down, Purim, the Cuban night, Easter, anything like that. It's all on the website. So if you have any questions like that, just look up the website as well. Thanks, Josh.
And Carol Marlin, go ahead. You have to unmute, Carol.
I have a question for either Eileen or Josh. We've been hearing for a long time about the NOSH and what's going to happen. Can you give us some kind of a timeline or when the outside this is going to happen? I mean, you know, when you tell us a year and someone who's our age, that's a long time. So can you give us some kind of an idea when we can expect this to happen?
If you want, I can jump in on, oh, Eileen, did you want to take this or would you like me to?
No, you can.
So Carol, it's a great question. And we have done the team has done a lot of work behind the scenes with our consultant, the dining committee, and our own dining team. We are very close to many things, but the things that we don't have control over, the equipment, which finally has arrived and is being hooked up and tested. But the other piece is the POS software, the ability to ring in tables more similar to a restaurant like Centro. Because NOSH was never designed in that route, it takes some programming to make sure that everyone seated at one table will get their orders in at the same time. And not going into too long of an explanation, Chelsea has met with the IT department. We're waiting on the quote to program the software, and then we understand that it will be a quick turnaround time. I hate to promise because these things are out of our control, Carol. So I do apologize on the entire team's behalf that we can't give a hard date. But once that is done, we are so ready to pull the trigger. The menus have been discussed and prepared and finalized. We've been training the teams. We've done one mock service and we will be doing another. So our commitment, Carol, is as soon as that's in place, we will move forward as quickly as possible. And we will continue to update and talk about it. It's in front of mind for the entire dining team.
Mm-hmm. So are you saying like by the end of the summer?
I would be very surprised, Carol, and upset and disappointed if it takes that long. Okay. We already have the POS in place. If it's a programming, I would hope we're talking about weeks, not months.
Okay, great.
Thank you very much for your.
We're going to move along. We still have a big program.
Okay,
here.
thank you.
So Paul Hartigan, you can start off with Carol Johnson.
Thank you, Jerry. It's been some time that Carol and I have made a presentation to the residents on the state of financial affairs here at Newbridge. So I think it might be appropriate just to give a quick overview for the benefit of the many new residents who have come in and maybe a refresher for existing residents. The Finance Committee meets periodically to review the financial statements when they're prepared for Newbridge on the Charles, where we live. And we discuss that at the Finance Committee with management. We then, after that meeting, make a presentation to the NMA and accept questions and discussions with them. And then we follow up with a meeting such as this with the residents, as many hopefully as possible. Now, what's the purpose of all this? Well, the Finance Committee was formed very early in the days of Newbridge here, and for some very good reasons. First of all, it's our home. Second of all, as you all know, Newbridge owes the residents singularly and collectively an awful lot of money. And thirdly, there's a significant amount of mortgage debt on this property, something in the order of $235 million, to give you an idea of the magnitude. And also the collective amount that's owed by Newbridge to the residents, us, is a little over $200 million. So there's an awful lot of money invested or involved in Newbridge on the Charles. And I think it's obvious that we want to make sure that our home is safe, that costs are reasonable, and we continue to enjoy the services and the lifestyle that we currently have. Now, I can tell you that management is totally aligned with the view that I've just expressed. I mean, they are most interested in maintaining the quality of life here and the level of services to maintain, importantly, financial viability, and most importantly, from our point of view, maintain our services at a level of, I would call, reasonable cost. And again, management and us are totally in line with that thinking. So we come periodically to report to you after some review of the financial state of affairs as to the residents as to what type of financial condition we're in. And I must tell you that management, in my experience, which has been a few years, is totally open, totally transparent, and is willing to share with us and the residents as much information as we desire. So again, this is a hopefully a more frequent level of reporting to you, the residents, really by Carol Johnson, who's our financial officer, works for Newbridge on the Charles. She has responsibilities quite well beyond just Newbridge on the Charles, and she is a first-class financial officer. And now, Carol, would you take over and explain the state of affairs?
Carol, you're all
Thanks
set
for that.
to the screen if you want to.
Great. Thanks for that introduction, Paul. I will go through this fairly quickly because I don't want to drag down the meeting. So if anybody has any questions, I'm just going to go back and take a quick look at last year. And this is kind of the historicals. We look to have a gap between our revenues and our expenses in independent living of about $800,000 a year. That's kind of what we need in order to support those bond payments that Paul mentioned earlier. During COVID, we were underneath that, below that target, because the census dropped. And we decided that we would just kind of absorb those losses while we restored the census back up to normal. And HSL helped us cover some of those costs. Last year, we did make our goal, and this year we're budgeted to be a little bit short. There were
You've gone silent.
some last minute comp adjustments. So we're sorry. Am I here again? Can you hear me?
You're okay now, but you're cutting in and out.
I'm so sorry. It's telling me my internet's unstable. So when we look at revenues and expenses in the future, I don't know what they will be, but the gap between the two needs to be about 800,000. So bottom line, anything that makes our operating expenses go up also makes the monthly service fees go up. We've done very well with our debt service coverage ratios over the years. Our covenant is 1.2, and we've been comfortably above that, but we'd like to get to a better point in order to refinance and save some money on interest in future years. We're also spending a little bit more on capital at the moment. Newbridge needs to be kept fresh, and up to date, and we'll continue to invest as we go forward. So the negative dollars comes out of accumulated reserves. I wanted to kind of compare quickly the operating expenses between 22 and 23, mostly to note that we continue to reduce the relative cost of what we call administrative costs, executive, fiscal, HR, IT, as we consolidate those expenses through HSL. And the money that we saved on those allowed us to increase the amount of money that we've spent on resident services and security and transportation. So as a proportion of the total expenses, they now are a higher percentage than they were before. And culinary continues to operate that golden spot of our biggest program, our biggest resident support offering, and our biggest expense. So always a key focus there. I'm sure Eileen appreciates that. We were recently rated by Fitch on our bonds. We had a call with the bond investors in late February that went very well. Our overall rating, BB plus and stable. So this is just a notch below investment grade. And this BB plus is kind of like a grade point average. Our grades in individual areas were an A for revenue defensibility. That means we have very high occupancy, we have an excellent market position, and our wait list is strong. We were rated BB, which is also very good for our financial profile, the days cash on hand, and the amount of cash we generated to cover our debt. The place where we're frankly always going to be a little bit behind is on the operating risk. And this comes back to the amount of debt that Newbridge is carrying, as Paul referred to it, $230 million. And we're constantly looking at the healthcare contribution, our contract changes versus our need to invest in capital, and that debt burden. So overall, a good report card, and we aspire to be summa cum laude and investment grade in the future. Some interesting things here on our occupancy. I'll point out to you that here was the dip in occupancy due to COVID in the IL back in 21, but it's since recovered and we're consistently in the 95% range. The RSU, the short-term RSU, strategically, the HRC decided to reduce the occupancy in the RSU. This is the short-term rehabilitation unit over in healthcare, and that's due to staffing challenges. We are keeping the occupancy down to the level that we can reasonably staff. On the resident inquiries, I think you can see this tremendous increase in the number of people who are calling about the residency in the IL. The number of people who are coming to tour the campus keeps going up, as does the wait list. We now have more than 300 people on the wait list for the independent living. And the number of move-ins is fairly stable between 25 and 30. And the assisted living wait list is also strong, and we have a consistent turnover on the assisted living. Independent living census trends, the average census, again, you see the dip there for 21, but we are where we expect to be at 243 to 244. And that just takes into account 30 units turning over every year and the amount of time it takes to refill those units, which right now is a little less than our target of 150 days. So good average census. I thought this was very interesting. Again, here's the dip due to COVID. But when you look at the impact on our community, after COVID, we had so many move-ins. 1/3 of the residents in the independent living have moved in the last 3 years. and 1/3 of the units have turned over in the last 3 years. That dropped the average age of residents in the IL by more than a year, and it continues to drop. So there's an awful lot of new people moving in. Their average age at move-in is about 80. So if you think there are a lot of new people at dinner, you're right. Questions? That was the
Okay, we have to take down your
1
screen.
minute buzz through.
If we're going to see questions.
Screens.
Carol,
Charlie Small.
take down your screen and then we'll see the questions. We
Oh.
have from Charlie Small. Go.
Sorry. Yes.
Hi, Carol. Thank you for this presentation. And as a resident of 2 years here, I've really appreciated all the services here. So I just wanted to mention, I noticed in the pie chart that there are 2 areas related to services. They've increased, and I just wanted to thank you and management for just continually focusing on services that are provided for us. And I appreciate it as a resident.
And we're continuing to focus on efficiencies in those areas of administrative costs, because the more we can control those, sharing them across various facilities, the more money we have to spend on, shall we say, forward-facing services. So thank you, Charlie.
Okay, any other questions of Carol? So
not to sound
Salman,
threatening,
you
but we'll be
raising
back
your
with
hand?
an update.
Zalman was right.
Yeah, Zalman, go ahead. Wait a minute, you have to, let me unmute you.
I did.
Okay, go ahead.
What all this relates to our current waiting list for move-in?
I'm not sure I understood the question.
The wait list, the current wait list.
Yeah, there are about 300 people on the wait list.
What does that translate to?
Don't feel the pressure to, don't feel any pressure to vacate your unit. But
no, but what does that translate to? And does that translate into some number of years or?
About 10 years. We will turn over about 30 units a year. And so it will take about 10 years to have 300 people move in.
Wow. Thank you.
Any other questions?
That's a lot.
Okay, thank you. Well, that just reflects on how thorough you are, Carol, in presenting.
And quite frankly, I want to thank all of you guys, because our marketing expenses at Newbridge are extraordinarily low. We spend less than 3%. And that's because I'm looking at all of our marketers right now. The word of mouth from our residents is our primary source of all of these inquiries and referrals. So thank you.
Good, thank you. We're ready for you, Matt. Oh, Judy Goldman has a question. Go ahead. You have to unmute. Go ahead, speak.
Okay, Carol, I have a question. I love your reports, by the way. I see several apartments that are finished and we're waiting for people. Are we paying for the monthly rent, or are they paying for the monthly rent?
They're
are still vacant.
So we have, right. So our kind of agreement is that we give people a standard refurbishment and a time to get that up. Some people elect to do a little bit more in the way of remodeling on their units, but they take possession of those units and start paying the monthly service fee even before the remodel is actually finished and they move in. So there are a number of people who, frankly, are paying monthly service fees who are not at the dinner yet.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Thank you. That sounds great. I appreciate that.
Okay, thank you. Let's move on. Matt?
Thank you. Judy, I agree. That sounds great. I'd like to start off today's meeting by saying that the scholarship event that was had in Great Meadow Hall the other night was just phenomenal. Never in my career did I expect to see an audience playing kazoos. It was something else, and it was something that I will remember forever. So thank you all for just creating what was just a spectacular evening. I think as a community, everybody should be incredibly proud of what was done there. In a moment of reflection on that, I was thinking about how impactful that evening was. And what struck me was the scholarship committee and all the donations that were made to the scholarship committee really come down to one thing, and that thing is belief. And that's belief in our young people that work here, the belief in education. And it can be that little shot in the arm that can make such a difference for somebody as they're going through their life. I happen to be one of those people that when I was younger, I had some folks that really believed in me. And as I look back, it just made a world of difference. And as a community, there's no stronger message that we can send than we believe in you. And that's essentially what you're all doing. You're believing in our employees and affording them the opportunity to grow and educate themselves and be something bigger and better in society than what they can imagine they probably could be. So I just want to sincerely from my heart say thank you to all of you. That was just spectacular to be part of. So thank you. We've had a lot of questions about the COVID-19 vaccination, and we've been in touch with Dedham Pharmacy. And they are going to yet again provide a clinic for us here on site. There's been a little snafu with United Healthcare. United Healthcare is who they do their billing through. And I don't know if people have seen in the news, but United Healthcare was targeted by some ransomware attack, and they're trying to clear it all up. And they're trying to clear that up, and they need to clear that up for Dedham to be able to come on site and do the work because they have to be able to bill. And all the billing goes through United Healthcare. So we're hoping to have a date by the end of next week. Leanne from Dedham Pharmacy said worst case, a week and a half. That's what she's hearing from United Healthcare, which will line up very well. And then we'll coordinate the vaccination clinic here on site. So for anybody that hasn't had it yet, we'll be able to provide that. So that's some really great news. Some other information that I'm looking forward to sharing is, and I teased it last week, is we're going to be rolling out the resident satisfaction survey. We've done this in the past, and we used to do this in-house through our Marcus Institute, but we're going to be going to an outside organization. HSL has hired a company called Activated Insights. They're a nationally recognized organization, and they're able to benchmark us against other continuing care retirement communities across the nation. The survey window is going to open on April 8th, and it's going to go through April 21st. This year, the survey will be 100% digital, but don't get nervous about that. We'll have people in kiosks around the community to help everybody take the survey. Links will be sent via email. And when the email comes in, it's going to come in from support@Activated Insights. Now, all this information is going to be shared with you in great detail. So no need to write it down. You don't even really need to remember it right now. The only thing you need to remember, as Matt said, on April 8th, we're going to start opening the resident satisfaction survey. There's about 50 questions. We expect it to take about 10 minutes. And any question can be skipped and not answered. So here's my request to all of you. And I made this request last week as well. Please take the time to fill out the survey. The more information that we get back, the better it is for us in terms of charting the course for Newbridge and where we're going and what you like and what you like and what you like, but also what you don't like. But we really do take it seriously, and it is really helpful for us as a management team. And then just so you know, is what we do is we take that information and then we talk about it as an organization here at Newbridge, as well as part of HSL. We put together action plans. We work with the managers and the directors and try to figure out how can we improve on some of the scores. And then we also take the time to celebrate some of the successes. So it's really a nice thing. And I just hope everybody will take the time to fill it out. I just see a hand raised.
Yeah, Mayor Fine.
Okay, so does it upset the validity of the survey if we get the questions ahead of time? Because you just said 50 questions in 10 minutes, and that doesn't leave much time for thinking.
Well, so you can have as much time as you need. The average expected time to be spent on it is around 10 minutes. So feel free to take your time. There's going to be no rush whatsoever. And the other thing is the survey is completely anonymous. But of course, you know, if you write a complaint that you've had, I'm probably going to know who you are. But that doesn't matter. That's okay. We're all family here. So, you know, speak up. It's all good. Any other questions about the survey or the clinic before I move on? Okay, I'm going to take the silence as a no. Next week, we have something exciting happening within our community for our dining servers and our back of house culinary team. We have what's called a culture training happening. We have Third Plus coming on site, and they've been working with us for the last year to create what is our culture training program. And what it means is, who are we here at Newbridge as employees? Who do we want to be? What does that training look like to get us where we want to be? And how do we elevate the customer service experience, particularly in the culinary space? We have some residents joining us in this training as well, and we're really excited to have them join us to give the resident perspective. And the hope is that this training will live on in perpetuity. We'll have train the trainer sessions, we'll have culture books, and we're really going to get into the model that we need to be part of, which is, you know, how do we provide that next level of service? How do we create that connection? How do we take somebody who is a first-time employee working in a dining room and teach them to have the skills that they need to have a really meaningful contribution to our community? So that's happening next week. So if you see a lot of people gathered in spaces, a lot of students and a lot of servers, back of the house, cooks, that's what's going on. Lastly, you'll probably see in the garage, there have been slow signs put up in the garage. Those have replaced the speed bumps. Hopefully they are not a tripping hazard for anybody, and drive carefully because you do not want yellow paint on your car. But that is our next attempt at slowing down folks in the garage. And then lastly, I know it's been rather quick because it's been a fairly long meeting today. So I'll open up for any questions anybody else may have.
Don't see anybody. So thank you very much, everybody. We'll see you next Thursday.
Thanks,
everyone.
Jerry.